Bases dropped on a new round of SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for coming by, as you always do. It is Wall Pass Wednesday, which means traditionally Tyler Pilgrim will drop by in about 10 minutes. We'll start our talk of Atlanta United. We'll get into anything and everything else so we can get our hands on. We'll talk about his vacation, and we'll talk about international window and who's not going to be here, what the lineup might look like in his mind, all those things as we get you ready for Messi and Friends. We do have a piece of Messi and Friends reports that are going on because yesterday before we left, after I finally wrestled technology to the ground and actually played the right interview, we found out that Jordi Alba's retiring. And so we now have news to fill in with that. We'll do that in just a little bit. So your rundown today, Tyler will discuss things in hour number one. Busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler from MLSsoccer.com will kind of get you ready for international window and what else is going on in Major League Soccer. Remember, it's a bit of a truncated schedule. Folks got matches to make up. LAFC's got 3 to make up to get back in line. And so that's why they have midweek weekend. And then getting back up with everybody else come decision day. So if Dylan can join us, We'll talk about the U20s. We'll talk about World Cup qualifying today. And there's some really cool stuff involving World Cup qualifying going on today. And if I'm not mistaken, hang on. I think if I am not mistaken, the qualifiers are actually up and running fairly quickly. No, that's not. It's like it wants you to sign in. Look, I already have a subscription, people. I don't know. I don't know why. It literally, it's like I'm trying to log into it. I'm one of those guys that I really never blow out my passwords. Morning, Dr. D. I never blow out my passwords, so that way I can go back and it can get saved and things like that. So, I know this will shock you, but I'm old school that way. And so that way I just don't have to, all the different passwords you have, I don't want to go to my password manager because that would take like 15 minutes, then trying to find the right one to get in and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of leave them open because I'm really the only person that touches this computer and the other computers that I have here. And so I always say logged in and I always look at everything, but apparently when you update, it logs you out of everything and you got to log back in, and I don't remember any of my passwords. And so it takes me forever to figure it out. And then I end up changing my password anyway. Okay. Friendly Gibraltar, New Caledonia at 11, U20 World Cup 3:30 and 7. Obviously, yeah, we'll get into that. Argentina, Nigeria, Paraguay, Norway. Once again, it's a full day on FS2. Season Pass has your matchup LAFC Toronto tonight. Now, on the plus is where it is. Cape Verde is on right now. Okay, so this is what we got to do. ESPN Plus. All right, so we're going to watch AFCON off to the left on the Big 55 because if Cape Verde wins at Libya, they're in. It's one of the smallest nations ever to get in. If they win at 9 o'clock, or now, basically, they're already in the first half. So we're going to do a Cape Verde watch along. There are right now 4 9 o'clock games going on in AFCON. Morning, David. And so we're going to keep an eye on the AFCON qualifying because you have 4 matches now. You have 5 matches at noon, 1 at 1:15, and at 3 o'clock you have Tanzania, Zambia. So this was where the World Cup stuff was going to come into play anyway. In hour number 2, we're going to discuss all of that stuff. But now that I know that we are up and running with Cape Verde, we'll get into their story. If you have not signed up for opening kickoff, the newsletter, I would recommend that you do it because Jason, first thing in the morning, what he does is he makes sure that you know what you need to know when it comes to anything and everything going on. Oh, do we have a quad box for? Oh, we might actually have a quad box for this. Okay, the Plus might actually be doing some decent work here when it comes to the qualifying out of AFCON. So if they've got a quad box going on, that would make my life really easy to stare at the Big 55 here. So do we have a quad box, or were they just teasing us on the guide? It's thinking, and so it's going to log us in a minute. So we'll get into all of the permutations and everything. Okay, so you do have your choice of what you want to listen to, but the quad box does exist. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so right now, early goal Libya. So early goal by Libya in the 5th minute, and that's what we're staring at now. So Cape Verde's got a bit of a mountain to climb. They are, and you had a choice. So I triggered the choice instead of staring at the quad box. So right now, Libya's already up 1-0 in the 5th minute. And so Cape Verde, once again, if they win in Libya this morning, they're in. And so apparently the Big 55 is thinking now about what's going on. Look, give me the quad box. I just want that volume. That's all that I want. But anyway, all right. So that's the game that we're going to be paying attention to this morning. Libya, Cape Verde for the right to get in match day next to last. So that's kind of what we're staring at here when it comes to this one. You've got Mauritius, Cameroon, Eswatini, Angola, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Libya, and the Cape Verde Islands. And so it is, and so they gave you the choice of the quad box, and I made the mistake of clicking on the game instead of just watching all 4. But anyway, this is where we have our attention in AFCON this morning, because once again, Cape Verde wins. They come from behind to beat Libya. They're in. One of the smallest nations ever to get into the world competition where you're chasing after a cup that's going to be played next year here. We're keeping an eye on Cape Verde this morning. So there you go. All right. So Libya with an early goal. They've got the rush going on, and they're trying to stay engaged in the group, and they're in Tripoli at Tripoli International Stadium. So that's where we're looking right now with all of the things. And so AFCON, I'm going to get all this right. But, Jason, if you have not subscribed to the Morning Espresso with Jason, gives you all of the info that you need in kind of a very short form to get you ready for the morning. But this is one of the bigger stories today. And we never figured that we would be discussing Cape Verde Islands as a part of all of this. And so that's where we are this morning. So this will kind of be like a pseudo lead when it comes to where we are with Cape Verde. So right now we are in the next to last match day, and we are in, what group are we in? It is Group D. Right now, coming into today, Cape Verde was 6-1-1. And they have 2 match days to go. They're down already. Once again, there's another match day after this to qualify. They've got 19 points. They're 4 up on Cameroon. Cameroon is at Mauritius this morning. Mauritius is 1-2-5 in the qualifiers, and they have only 5 points. So they've been eliminated. Eswatini has been eliminated in Group D. And so Eswatini, can make it more difficult for Angola to qualify. They cannot qualify directly. So Cape Verde, if they win today, then they can go into World Cup 2026. If they don't win today, then it goes to match day last. It goes to match day last, and they would be going up against Eswatini, who has not won a game in group. And it would be a matchup on the 13th, so 5 days from now, which would be Monday. Monday, if Cape Verde wins, if they don't win today, then they're in the tournament because they have 4 points on Cameroon. Cameroon could make it into qualifying through the second round, and Cameroon is playing, once again, Cameroon's at Mauritius. So anticipate Cape Verde having a lead. You just don't know what the margin is right now. Cameroon, if they win, they're at 18 points. Cape Verde, if they lose, they're at 19 points. Cape Verde would have to win in match day last against a team that has not done anything in the group stage at all. They are 0-2-6. So if they get through today, if they win today, then they're in. If they win next time out against the team that has not won in group, then they're in. That's what you're staring at here. So we'll be looking at this today and on Monday for the group stage when it comes to Group D and the AFCON qualifiers. So that's where we are right now when it comes to Group D. And what's the other group that we're staring at here? Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Group A. So Group A is what we're looking at. Egypt is in. They play at noon. Burkina Faso is possibly a second rounder. They are playing at noon against Sierra Leone, who cannot qualify directly. Guinea-Bissau cannot qualify directly either, and they're taking on Ethiopia, who's 1, 3, and 4. So Guinea-Bissau and Ethiopia. Guinea-Bissau needs that one to stay afloat in the Group A race to try and qualify, whether it's to an intercontinental qualifier or that. So Group A going on at noon. Right now, we are in Group D in the AFCON, keeping an eye on Cape Verde. Your story with Cape Verde is twofold. Other than being one of the smallest nations ever to qualify, should they qualify. Steven Moreira with Columbus Crew is of Cape Verdean descent, so he is on that national team. Also, Aiden Torres has links to Cape Verde for your Atlanta United, but we don't know the layout, and we don't know, is it like the Olympics where it's grandparents and you can qualify for citizenship and that kind of a thing. So that's also why we're keeping an eye on Cape Verde going in this morning. All right, 9:16. I filibustered, and I've got our morning viewing squared away as Tyler is joining us, and he is no longer on a 90th floor overseeing Central Florida. And I can guarantee you that he wishes he was probably still on that 90th floor window looking at everything in Central Florida. So we bring in Tyler as we sit here and talk about anything and everything. Yeah, so we're locked into AFCON this morning. Literally, they're going on right now, and it's off on the Big 55, and I was trying to re-explain where things stand in these two groups that are at 9 and at noon.
Yeah.
Cape Verde's down 1-0. They got some work to do.
Yeah, they got things that have happened. I was going to say grandparent ancestry, it does apply.
Grandparency does apply?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
and that's where we are. They could become the smallest African nation and the second smallest worldwide after Iceland in 2018 to qualify. The Blue Sharks, I think they're like 1,000 miles off the African coast. And it is an archipelago of 500,000 people. They can qualify if they beat Libya away or if Mauritius actually gives them help against Cameroon. But we'll keep an eye on that. But they're down, and they've got a set piece here in the 12th minute. In swinger with the left. Looks like it's got too much on it. And, had some curl, and it stayed in. So this is what Tripoli International Stadium has never been more of a focus this morning than it has been on SDH. I'll tell you that right now.
How big is that TV that you have to your left?
The Big 55?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the Big 55 is a Big 55.
I like
it. So literally, I mean, I could do this one of three ways. I have two laptops that are functioning on a normal basis, but the second laptop, so laptop B, this is like, okay, so camera desktop is here. Number one laptop is off to my like a 45-degree angle. It's like 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Then I have laptop number 2, which is which would shield. Actually, no, it wouldn't shield the boss's fat head. So if I were to open it up, it would be like right here, and you'd see the edges of it, and that would be really annoying because I'd be sitting here going like this the whole time instead of pointing at the Big 55, where I can just sit here and go, okay, quick look, 1-0, 13th minute, and we're good. Yeah. So I've got two laptops, the desktop and the Big 55 that can be going all at once.
That makes sense.
And during the 2 season, it sure as hell was going.
Yeah.
all at once.
I understand.
Yeah.
I have like one monitor dedicated to essentially soccer when I'm working.
I'm right there with you. Since we mentioned it, let's go ahead and start with the 2s. And since we've already given the Cape Verde update this morning on the Blue Sharks, and they got work to do. But the 2s at Fort Finley, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. I was driving. We were driving all over Orlando because we were leaving the Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Oh yeah.
So I started watching the game in one of the Disney buses, and I don't think people that were in that bus were familiar with the beautiful game.
Because they were I mean, look, some folks would sit there and say, yeah, the purple team doesn't play the beautiful game. So yeah, I could see where you're right there with it.
As a side, bar from that, the amount of Orlando Pride shirts I saw compared to Orlando City, Orlando City was none. So the Pride though was well represented, but so was Atlanta United. So I was very impressed by that. But
well, I mean, let's see, if you had the choice of trying to figure out how to spell Pasalic for a personalized jersey versus having a Barbara Banda or a Marta, and they're chasing after championships, I could see where the Pride jerseys are, a more plentiful than it would be for
100%.
Orlando City.
And billboards and all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
impressed.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, because then if you had a Robin Johnson jersey, all you'd be doing is falling down in public. So I mean,
yeah, over and over again.
taking swings at people and trying not to get looked at and get a card. So no, I completely understand the idea of the Pride having more pride, so to speak, in Central Florida than the Purple team. Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, for sure.
How was the trip, by the way?
The trip was great. The trip was super well. We actually just got home like late last night. So
Okay.
it's been the day of travel and then getting home and sleeping in your own bed finally, which is nice, but also not wanting to be sleeping in your own bed because you still want to be on vacation. So, but
I can't sleep. When I'm traveling and I'm touring and I'm covering events, I have the most difficult time sleeping in hotel beds.
yeah,
And I don't know when this changed, but I don't know when the pillows in hotel rooms, regardless of what chain we are talking about, have gone completely and totally saggy, soft, and you have it literally your head disappears. It's like the Homer Simpson gif where he drifts into the
bushes.
into the bush, into the hedge. That's what you get these days when you're in a hotel room and everything just kind of drifts off into literally your head goes into the hedge that is these pillows. And it takes you 90 minutes to try to get out of the pillows and you don't get any sleep.
Yeah, it covers like you know what's funny though, it's not to get off because I wanted to talk about the twos, but it's like a red herring. It really is. Like you get there your first day and you're like, oh, this hotel's bed and the pillows are gonna be it.
No.
But it's actually because you're so tired from traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So then you wake up and you're like, that wasn't as good as I thought, but I was comfortable, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to sleep the next night and you're like, no, these pillows suck.
No. Yeah, they absolutely do. You were going to talk about the twos.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get us all off track.
It's a Wall Pass Wednesday. What did you expect?
And I'm coming back from vacation. I don't have milk in my coffee. That's part of the problem. We got home. There's no milk, so I'm drinking black coffee, and so forewarning. The twos. I gotta give Jose Silva credit. I have to give the entire team credit. They, and this is not a knock on Steve Cook at all. I just think that when Jose Silva took over, he implemented a couple of, it wasn't like wholesale changes, but it was tweaks that I think unlocked the twos and the talent that they have on the team right now. And I think if I were to pick out a downside of anything about the season ending the way that it did, is that you do have some players that may not be here next year.
Yeah.
And they were leaders, they were integral to the team, and I'm not saying they won't be, but I'm saying like I hope that they do pick them back up in some way, shape, or form. But it is going to be a pretty big off season for the twos as well. So but the game itself, man, I mean, you're literally just blasting Chattanooga over and over again, and you just can't get that one go ahead goal. I mean, and good on Santi for the second minute thriller, but man, it's just a tough way to go out, right? Like you have them on the ropes for most of the second half, and then you're like, all right, whatever. Everything else went our way, so we'll settle for the penalties and make it happen there. And then John Ransom, first penalty, stops it, and you're like, all right, we're going in the right direction, and it just kind of went downhill from there. It's just a heartbreaker, honestly. But overall, you got to give a big shout out to the whole team for the run that they made to try to even get that far in the first place, because it was essentially a half season run. They were out of the playoffs, and Jose Silva stepped in and did some special things. And I personally feel like he absolutely deserves that interim title to be completely removed.
Yeah, and so that'll be one of the big questions, I think, for the offseason for the twos after they catch their collective breath. Excellent plug, by the way. Nice choice for the mug this morning. Now that you're back,
Yeah.
That's if he wants it, like, dude, dial it up and go, because I mean, you look at what we got to see with that roster with the twos, and all of the 15 and 16-year-olds that got the opportunities that they did and continued to mature over the season. I mean, I know that we look at Santi Pita, who is quoting Derek Whittenberg in Survive in Advance and paraphrasing him, Santi Pita is going to be a problem. It's like Ralph Sampson in Survive in Advance. Santi Pita is Ralph Sampson for anybody else in MLS Next Pro. Santi Pita is going to be a problem.
Yep.
You look at what Santi was able to do up front, then you look at Gabriel Wisse, you look at Patrick Weah, you look at that offensive rush up front, then you go to the midfield and you're looking at Cooper Sanchez, who will be coming back this weekend and heading straight to Messi and Friends matchup in Fort Lauderdale. It's like, yeah, you're with the U's. All right, you're back. Good. All right, ready, break. You're heading to Fort Lauderdale. Didi Cibrian, who no longer is playing. I mean, literally, he comes in 15, 16 years old. Yeah, and no, he's not playing like a 15 or a 16-year-old.
Not even a little bit.
You're going up against dudes that are, maybe 10 years, if you're playing the independent clubs, 10 years older than you. And Didi Cibrian stepped right in. Cooper Sanchez stepped right in. You go to the back line. You got to see what Toto Majoub was going to be bringing to the table over the next couple of years as he continues to grow. Obviously, you look at Dominic Chonqui and what he's been able to do, bouncing back and forth. Literally, you've got national team duty. You've got time with on the game day roster with the first team. You're seeing what DCQ can do there. Aiden Torres stepping in the midfield. I mean, and then in net, everybody's sitting there looking at Jaden Hibbert, right? Okay, so Jaden Hibbert with the twos gets with the first team, and Jaden Hibbert is just he's off and running. But you're like 4 deep in net with the academy and with the twos behind Jaden Hibbert. You got dudes chasing, and it's Jono, and it's James Donaldson, and it's Clausen. You got 3 with the twos that are ready to challenge. That was not me with the email, by the way. So the roster and the build that we've seen on the academy side, getting ready for the twos and seeing the future heading toward the first team, I could not be more excited about what's going to happen next year with this roster in MLS Next Pro as everybody in a perfect world starts to head toward minutes with the first team.
Yeah, because it feels like you have a lot of these guys, kids, both really kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not saying that they're going to hit their prime of soccer, excellency.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be
hitting now.
Yeah, right now. But they're going to be hitting a stride, I think, where like if they can go through this off season, and obviously some changes are going to happen, some moves in and out because that's natural. But like, as long as you don't quote unquote blow things up too bad, you have a lot of guys who they're familiar, they're comfortable. Jose Silva put them in a good position at the end of this season so they can go forward into next season. Now, obviously, the big one is going to be, does Jose Silva keep that head coaching job? And I'll say it a million times. I think he should, absolutely. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, if he wants it. Yeah, if he wants it, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I mean, ultimately, if they can kind of keep things on the same keel that they have now in these final 12 matches of the season, you have guys that even if they're getting, fringe minutes, they're familiar with what Silva and the twos as a whole, and even the academy want to do. So they're comfortable. They have the chemistry. They have things that, are really going in the right direction for them. So yeah, I mean, you talk about the goalkeeper spot, like it is a logjam for sure, but it's a great problem to have because they're all good. It's not like you've got a guy there who's just like, I mean, he's the third string for a reason. No, like you could take any of them, honestly, and throw them into a match. And we've seen it. I mean, you've seen it happen with, matches like the Belize match and others. Like these kids get thrown in there and they handle themselves very well. So I have no issue with especially that position, but they're in a good, the team as a collective whole, they're in a good position overall.
Yeah, and so we'll be obviously keeping an eye on all of that in the off season, but they get to look at it now with the playoffs and that close. And trust me, there was a lot of I'll go ahead and say it. I'll break the fourth wall here. There was a lot of colorful metaphors in the car on the drive home after what happened.
And it builds character, I guess you couldn't say. I mean, I know this isn't like a consolation of any kind for a player that played in that game, but it does build character going forward. Next year when you're in, hopefully not that same position. Hopefully you're well into the playoffs a few weeks ahead of time. But
Mhm.
when it comes to those moments where it's tough, the penalty shootouts, all these other things, they're going to remember this, and
Mhm.
they're going to do everything they can to not let it happen again.
Yep. So obviously, like I said, tomorrow is when we find out pick a partner in MLS Next Pro. I think, as I kind of played it out in my head, I think we're going to be getting Huntsville and Chattanooga, because you figure everything is going to go fairly chalky. With Red Bulls, you figure they're going to take the 8. You know, they're going to take Carolina. You figure that one's an easy one. And so then the way that it goes, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is literally it is pick a partner. It is literally pick a partner, and you go into a Zoom. And you, last year, I think Max Bretos was the one who was hosting the quick Zoom, and you have the 8 representatives in each of their rooms. You know, it's kind of like the expansion draft setup where you're sitting there and you're seeing like tables or makeshift curtains or the artificially created stuff behind you, like on Zoom calls and stuff. And literally, it is whoever finishes on the top, they get to pick 5, 6, 7, or 8. They get to pick their matchup in the first round. A lot of times, though, this hasn't really been all that great for the people picking their matchups because they'll get bounced. But Red Bulls are first. They probably, like I said, my guess is they'll pick Core, but just because there's a 19-point difference and Core got in at the last and they don't have to play at Truist Point. Union would pick second, and I think they're going to pick Cincinnati unless they feel like they can score 5 on fire like everybody else has this last month. And it's like, where's my offense and how confident in it am I? Do you pick Cincinnati and have them at home at Subaru Park, or do you pick the Fire thinking that you can outscore them and go from there? I think that's really the only question, is what does Philadelphia do? And then I think that gives you the answers to what the Revs do, because whoever Philadelphia doesn't pick, I think the Revs, who are at 3, will pick that individual, which leaves us with Chattanooga and Huntsville at your 4-5.
Yeah, I was interested. I was trying to
Mhm.
look up the head-to-head between New England and Chicago Fire 2.
Mhm.
Okay, 4 draws. The Revs have 2 wins, Chicago has 1. So,
Mhm.
I was trying to see if there was any, like, glaring, like, "Oh, we need to that's our team that we
Yeah.
we know that we can handle with it. We have their number," but it doesn't seem that way. But no, I agree with you. I think, I mean, it in a way, this one kinda seems pretty straightforward, like you
Yeah.
said, with Carolina being where they're at and kinda how they got in. Red Bulls, it would be kinda silly not to take them.
Yeah, because Core's going to Montclair. You've got to figure out how you're getting from Greensboro to Newark, and
Yep.
maybe maybe in the old days US Air had a direct flight or something like that. But you're packing up folks. You're going to Newark. You're driving to Montclair. It's a quirky place to play. It benefits the Red Bulls. Red Bulls can be beaten at Montclair.
Yeah.
But I think that with what Michael Bradley's doing up there, I think that you're kind of like, yeah, I think they can handle that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one that would be intriguing the most to me for them to pick, the Red Bulls, would be Cincinnati, only because there are whispers of both individual similar styles
Uh-huh.
there,
Yeah.
like it would just be kind of fun to watch. But I mean, from a tactical standpoint, like actually wanting to go win the playoffs,
Yeah.
I think the Red Bulls would be stupid to pick that one.
Yeah, and if we have projected it out properly, go ahead and make the 4-5 the 2 teams that really hate each other,
Yeah.
and they're like, maybe 90 minutes apart on a bad day.
Yep.
You get stuck in Fort Payne having to get off the freeway, and you're on the divided 4 lane, and it gets really messy. But yeah, Chattanooga and Huntsville in round number 1 at Fort Finley. Huntsville's going to travel. Chattanooga's going to be there, because they had 4,500 for the matchup with the 2s. That building is going to go crazy if that is your 4-5. And I'm looking forward to all of that kind of chaos, because they don't like each other. The teams don't like each other. And they're going to be just out there being all chippy and nasty. And who knows? Maybe they'll have a center ref who might actually call some fouls.
Yeah, for real. What a novel concept.
I'm saying.
But yeah, no, if that is the one, if that is the matchup that happens, and I agree, I think it should be. I think that's kind of how the math, quote unquote, plays out. But ultimately, like that would be the match of the first round by far.
Yes.
Like, bar none, because it's going to be literal regional rivals. I mean, you can't get closer. I mean, Chattanooga and Atlanta, yes, but Huntsville, they complete the weird Bermuda Triangle of I don't know, of North Piedmont region. I don't know.
Southern football chaos.
Yeah.
And it's the two independents too.
Yep.
So, well, I mean, even though Huntsville has ties to Nashville as an affiliate, but true independent versus, that's going to be on social media. We're the real independent team. You're not. I can just see all the battles going back and forth.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chattanooga already has the sign, that the banner that says "built, not bought." So
yes.
I'm sure
Wait. We have a graphic disappearance. Hang on. Let me see if this is. Do we have a goal? I need a goal horn. We need, like, the old hockey goal horns.
Yeah.
One of those. We have the all 22 in the middle third. Entry, far post, header, in. We're tied at 1. Cape Verde has scored, and so now we are tied at 1. Back to square. Plenty of time as we keep an eye on Cape Verde now. Everything's back to even in the 20s. So we're seeing a replay, and everybody's celebrating, but we don't have a graphic yet, so it's not official. And all right, so yes, it is official. 31st minute. We are now back to square with Cape Verde and Libya at Tripoli International Stadium. So that's where we are with that storyline.
I was trying to play some sound effects, but I can't do it. Right.
And I mean, if you don't have milk in your coffee, I don't know how. You're kind of like you're kind of hurting this morning.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
I want to discuss with you. You can say whatever you'd like about LAFC and that matchup there before we discuss what's going to be happening this weekend with Messi and friends and heading down south and retirements and all that kind of stuff. So I will let you put a bow on your LAFC thoughts while you were probably watching that one in Central Florida as well, and everybody else was asleep.
Yeah, we did a watch along. So I was up on the balcony. It was cool. Got to see the Epcot fireworks behind us. That was the moment of the match. But I mean, here's the thing. We can sit here and look at the results, and yes, the results suck. But arguably, you spent a lot of money on the defense in the summer. I say a lot of money. You spent money. You went out and you achieved resources to better your defense, and it has been better. That being said, this is not a defensive team that's going to sit here and pull 0-0 draws all the time. The attack still has to go do their job, and that's been the story of the season. The attack has just not been good enough. It hasn't even been close. So you've got a team that I think on paper really should be winning these kind of games 2-1, 3-2, 3-1 on a regular basis, because you have on paper the attack to go do it. But it's been that issue all season. It just showed again against LAFC. The defense, they held strong as they could against a very good LAFC attack, and they gave up 1 goal. And it's frustrating because it's at the end of the game, but the attack should have been doing so much more for the entire match. You had 3 shots on goal, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 2 of those were absolute, rockets from Bartek Sliš from outside the box, and kudos to him. I put it in my article on the website, but like, I'm happy that we have a number 8 / number 6 / whatever number you want to give him that's taking shots, because you need that. That's just another tool in the, the tool belt.
Right.
But he can't be the one primarily doing that. Like, you have Miggy up front, and Miggy's shooting all season has just seemed a step too late. You have Latte Loth and Tiare, who, are just struggling to. I mean, Tiare, to be fair, has actually performed pretty admirably, but Latte Loth is just struggling to really get involved. Whatever winger that you happen to have at any given time has just really struggled to get involved on a consistent basis. So when you go and do so well getting into the final third, and then you just don't know what to do with the ball in the final third, you're never, ever, ever going to win games. No matter how good you make your defense, you've got to score goals. We know this. It's not like this is a secret, but I say all that to say, like, the game, it actually, again, in a bubble, wasn't the worst. I mean, defensively, you have gotten better since the summer, which is that was what you wanted, right? That's why you went out and spent the money.
Mhm.
But the attack still has to come good, and whatever needs to happen to kind of get that figured out. I mean, that's what this offseason is for. Because if you can figure that out, then you do have something to grasp onto, something to hold on to going into 2026. Um, but I've had so many people come up to me, my wife included, after seeing the game. She's like,
Well, I would hope your wife would come up to you just in general.
right, yeah, in general, to talk about the game specifically. She's like, I know that there's more to it than this, and looking at it maybe from like a normal fan perspective. But she's like, just watching the games, it doesn't really look like things are improving. And I get that because you're still losing. You're still struggling to do anything in the final third. So, it's not an absolute crap show like it could have been because LAFC is a good team. It could have been 4-5-0 because they have those guys that can make you pay. But Atlanta did a great job of, honestly, maybe not on purpose, but of making LA play an uncomfortable game because they probably gave LA a little bit more of the ball than they intended to at key times. LA doesn't want the ball. They want to go counter with Denny Blanca and now Son. So I guess in that sense it worked, but the attack's got to get it figured out.
Okay, so then let me go devil's advocate here.
Yes.
In a matchup like LAFC, and you have a back five, which I think at times almost had, back six implications to it because you either had Alzate or Bart almost acting as a fourth center back. If you have a pairing like we had with Atlanta United, where it was Baracall and it was you had Baracall, you had Gregerson, and you had Mihai. You had the three of them as your three center backs, and it's the first time that they are working together in that system. Would you not want to try and make things easy in your integration of that lineup? It's like you don't want to do things that are too off the rails. You want them to get settled in. And so in a back five with a new three-person matchup, you let that engine get warm a little bit. You don't necessarily sit there and send them forward as much as you normally would. You won't see a Stian Gregerson bombing forward like we've seen in the past. You let them get settled in and understand outside of practice Monday through Thursday before you hopped on a flight on Friday. Okay, this is what you're going to do. You don't want them to have any missteps in an environment like that. So maybe you kind of keep it in second gear for a little while and sit there and figure yourself out first, knowing that LAFC could give you that 4, could give you that 5. And so you make it easy for yourself. Defense first, and then let them have the ball. Let them be uncomfortable. So if we play defense first, let them be uncomfortable. And then if they're uncomfortable, then they get mistakes. And then in the second half, you did get to see Atlanta United taking advantage of those opportunities or a couple of chances of Miggy down the left and so on. But so what about the idea of defense first? Let them get acclimated, make it difficult for LAFC. And if those opportunities present themselves offensively in transition, take advantage of it. Then in a hostile environment where you're going up against one of those offenses in Major League Soccer that can light anybody up on any given match day.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing though is in this game, like the defense, not only did they do well, but they did well moving the ball up the pitch. It was just once it got into the final third that things, again, continued to kind of fall apart. And so yeah, I mean, even if we were to go back and say maybe that defense, that back line wasn't firing on all cylinders, they still did pretty well.
Yeah,
I mean,
no question.
LAFC is gonna get theirs typically, and they did, and you could see how frustrating it was for the players because they had played a heck of a defensive game up until that point. But I think it's just you just have this kind of same story all season of you really have no problem moving the ball down the pitch. Atlanta hasn't had that problem all season. It's just once you get there, things just kind of they slow down too much, and I'm trying to look at the stats. I was over on SofaScore looking at
Which game?
the Atlanta, this most recent one.
I got it. What do you need?
I was just kind of looking at like touches in the opposition box.
It'll be one-sided.
I know.
Shots inside the box 11-0. Shots outside the box 4-3. You had one Atlanta United shot hit the woodwork. If that changes, then then you're looking at 1-1. Let's see. Attack. Touches in the opposition box 27-0. Through balls 2-0. Big chances missed 3-0. Big chance scored 1-0. Fouled in the final third 2-1. Offsides 3-1. All of that's in LAFC's numbers.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at the attack map. The highest concentration of play is, as expected for Atlanta, literally all three sectors of the midfield and right in front of goal.
Right.
It's right there in front of, again, in the final third, that there's just nothing happening. And to me, it feels like a chemistry thing. I don't know. That's just what it feels like, because it feels like they're just reluctant to take the shot, like that kind of shot that you see Slish take, that you see Moranchuk take occasionally, that he scored on multiple times, by the way. Like, Miggy he's got a left foot that can hit a corner. Latte Love has a foot that can hit a corner, but they tend to just hold on to the ball a little too much before they do anything with it in the final third of meaning. And it turns into a turnover. And so I wrote an article about this literally back in, I think, April or May. And it just, that's the one part of the game that I feel it just hasn't changed at all. So, there are some things that you can take out of this game, really. But because I don't want it to be overshadowed by the fact that the season has just been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, the team really has gotten better, but they've got to figure out this attack. They really do, because even if it's just for pride's sake, like everybody's looking at Atlanta right now saying, "Oh, $22 million striker, and this is what happened." Like that, we want to get rid of that story. Got to do better in front of goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. But as far as how they actually played the game,
yeah,
I wasn't mad at that against LA.
And now you have 8 and now 7, because Cooper Sanchez is coming back. 7 absences heading into the matchup against Messi and friends down at the Erector set on the weekend. And here's who's missing. And so you might want to get out your piece of paper and figure out, because you know what my follow-up question is going to be.
Yep.
So Luke Brennan's kind of busy.
Yep, just a little bit.
He's at the U20s. Miggy with Paraguay, Ronald with Venezuela, Saba with Georgia, Mihai with Albania, and the Serbia matchup is going to be must-see TV if you can find it.
Yeah.
Miranchuk with Russia. And like I said, Cooper with the 17s, but he should be with the U17s, but he should be back in circulation, and Bart. So that gives you 7 absences. And the question, I think, that the biggest question that I have, other than the idea that you're probably going to have maybe anywhere from 12 or 13 first team players available, is what is the short-term call-up limits? Who's got call-ups left? And what is it going to look like coming up from the 2s to fill out the match day 20/18, going down to Fort Lauderdale on the weekend to go up against a team that, by the way, does not have Rodrigo De Paul, does not have Ian Frey, does not have some dude named Messi, does not have Santi Morales because he's away with the U19s, does not have Fafa Pico, does not have Talasco Segovia, and does not have Matteo Silvetti, who has been called into the Argentina U20s. That's what we're staring at this weekend.
Hibbert is here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was not called up to Canada. You will be going up against Busquets, Jordi Alba, I would imagine. Busquets, Jordi Alba, Suarez will be part of what you're looking at for Messi and friends this weekend.
All right. So we have Hibbert.
Mm-hmm.
We still have Pedro, right?
Yeah. So Pedro's starting on the left. You probably are going to have Barakal.
Yep.
Stian.
Yep.
And you've got to figure out Brooks Lennon's health and where he is to see what's going to happen at right back.
So Lennon, question mark.
Yeah.
Because who was we don't have
Ronald.
Matt
You don't
and
have Matt. You don't have Ronald.
Yeah, definitely not. But Matt's not
that I'm aware of.
Not back. Okay. All right, so we'll leave him as a question mark.
I mean, is it DCQ on the left and Pedro over to the right, or is it DC? Is it something like that?
DCQ have any short-term call-ups left?
That's the other question.
I got to check that because I know they got ran through pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to check that too.
Yeah, because he was on the bench in LA, but I don't know how that applies with rules and everything, and how many members he has left.
I might be getting all my my roster twos and all that. Like when his actual first team contract,
and it might be Nick Sessick on the right, because Nick did not play. He was out of the lineup, and I think that since Nick got signed to a first team deal, it might be Pedro and Nick on the outside.
That would make sense.
Baracol and Stian as a back four.
All right, so we'll put L question mark and Cess.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cess. All right, so and then listen, we have Alzate, right?
Yeah, so Alzate would be one of your two in the midfield. Tristan's probably the other.
Yep.
So that's your two. Then the attack, Jamal would be up top.
Yep.
You're probably looking at what? Leo Afonso.
Yep.
Togashi. It might be more of a traditional 4-3-3.
Yep.
I'm guessing, or a 4-2 or 4-2-1-3, something like that. You could do the 4-2-3-1 if you just had Jamal up top. So you could have Jamal Latte Lot, maybe one striker playing behind the other, like a second striker kind of a thing. So I mean, as we piece this through, that starting 11. But seriously, if you think about it, you're looking at Pedro. The back four is stuff we've seen. It's Pedro, it's Baracol, it's Gregerson, and it might be Nick Sessick, or it might be DCQ, or what have you, or you flip one side to the other. Your midfield two is Alzate and Muyumba. Then you're looking at, once again, probably some combination of Jamal, Latte Lot, Togashi, Alfonso. What am I missing?
No, that's it. I mean, Jamal, Togashi, Afonso, Latte Loth, which all are forwards on paper, and they would just.
All right, Libya just scored. It's 2-1, 3 minutes added first half. Corner, Cape Verde, punch cleared by the Libyan keeper. So that's where we are. So that continues.
That sucks. Yeah, so I mean, you just say, hey, every forward that's still here and on the roster, you just go play up top somewhere. Latte Loth at the number 10 may be the key to unlocking this entire attack. I don't know. But I I don't think you have many other options, again, unless you start really dipping into, I mean, you could do the Aiden Torres at the number 10 experiment again. You could, I mean, honestly, you can insert a whole handful of twos players if you have the call-ups and, want to use them. Of course, you're also having to think about the fact that they just got on getting their hearts broken.
Well, but once again, that gives them that kind of extra momentum to get it all out of their system and go attack somebody.
That is true. And it's not like you're having to deal with, again, like you said, Messi and at least the majority of the friends.
Yeah.
You're still going to have a pretty serious midfield to deal with.
You'll have, like I said, you'll have Alba, Busquets, and Luis Suarez. That'll be 3 of your 11.
Okay, that is true. I forgot about Suarez. You got to watch out for the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I mean, I think really all eyes on this one are going to be back to how does the defense hold up? Because, in some way, shape, or form, your back four, one of them is going to be somebody who hasn't gotten a lot of minutes with the first team, which is totally fine. I would like to see that. But if you do still have Betakal, Stian, and Alzate, that right there is a key part of your 2026 squad, most likely, or at least 2 of the 3. So they need to perform. Excuse me. They need to perform well no matter what. Now, what happens up top? I mean, that's going to be very interesting to see come an hour before kickoff. But there's only so many things that you can do with the roster the way it is now. And look, you want to get Afonso more time.
Yes.
I think Togashi deserves a lot more time. Latte Lath, he needs to be playing. I mean, he's the one that you spent a lot of money on. And yes, I get that the games don't matter now, but that guy, he needs to hit the back of the net.
Yeah, and also we've got to figure out where he is in his fitness. So maybe it is some combination of Jamal / Latte Lot / Jamal
Yeah.
as your striker there. So, but no, I mean if your front line, maybe Cayman plays behind as a second striker, whomever that individual is that's starting. And Leo on the left and Cayman as a second striker, and figure out what you want to do on the right-hand side, or make Cayman on the right instead of a second striker. So, I mean, I'm intrigued as to what this is going to look like going up against that group, because once again, they're missing some big guns too. And you wonder, where they are with their lineup. I mean, you're probably going to have walking yellow cards in Baltazar Rodriguez and
Yep.
Tomas Aviles and Maxi Falcone and Gonzalo Lujan. And so you can score on that bunch. You can run at them, run past them, and score. And it's going to be some combination of Ustari and your evil Snidely Whiplash looking villain and Rocco Rios Novo in net. So
yeah,
I mean, we just need Rocco to do this.
If he would just twirl it a little bit, it would be perfect. Totally the guy from either Scooby Doo or like you said.
Yes.
What was that show?
It was oh crap, because it was Dastardly and Muttley. It was Wacky Races, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Dastardly and Muttley. Dick Dastardly and Muttley. Goal Libya, Ezo El Maremi from Al Ahly Tripoli. He's got the cleanup goal, and right now Libya knocked out Cameroon out of second place in the group, and that's where they are at the break. So that's where we're keeping an eye on the Big 55 this morning when it comes to African qualifying and the idea of Cape Verde making it into the World Cup. So that's where we are. But yeah, so that's just kind of spitballing what it could look like, what the game day 18/20 looks like formationally. Like I said, I think back four is pretty much locked in place. Then it's just figuring out your attack is what I think you're going to be staring at the most when it comes to this particular matchup. Like I said, so we'll see. And Messi and friends keep trying to make up matches and things like that, and so we'll see what the deal is with all of them as we go. And what else is on your mind, sir, before the top of the hour? And you get to go find milk to put in your coffee.
I do.
You're hurting.
Yeah. No, I mean, just as far as like our show, we're getting back to it. Well, I mean, not that it's gone anywhere, but
you're getting back.
I'm getting back to it. Yeah. We're actually going to do an interview at on the show tonight. It'll be pre-recorded by like 30 minutes with Matt Doyle. So we'll be chatting with him, just kind of getting his thoughts on Atlanta's season and MLS as a whole, and getting ready for this weekend. And we do on Decision Day, we've got our last live show of the year over at the Signia. But other than that, man, I think my biggest thing from this past week of watching soccer was just the twos. That was what I was most locked in on. I was so I mean, my kids were there. They were holding on, they were watching. They were traveling around, and my wife. I mean, it was just, it felt very, very similar to the Montreal game for me, because the Montreal game last year that Atlanta won to get into the actual playoffs.
Yep.
I was down in Disney, or I was in Orlando. I was actually at Universal when that game was happening, and I was watching it on my phone, and I was screaming out in the middle of Universal's whatever that
people are backing away from.
Yeah, who is this freaking idiot?
He's
what is going on?
Screaming into his phone. Why is he doing this?
What's wrong with him? And so I was like, oh, it's going to be like a weird repeat kind of situation, but it was not meant to be. And so, but I'm happy with the direction the twos are going. So
yes. And so keep an eye on everything going on at SNS, and maybe Tyler will have found some milk for his coffee as they get ready for the rest of the week, and the guesting tonight and the shows tonight and the Signia-ing a week from the weekend, where DC will not have their starting keeper, who will be out of contract. And so Luis Barraza is kind of like, yep, I'm out.
Yep.
And Jordan Farr is probably going to get the start for DC, but we'll get to there when we get to there. Glad you're getting back. Yes. Oh, and yes, and then Nag Bay. Yes, absolutely true. Driver getting his earned plaudits and flowers after it was declared that that this was going to be his last year. Absolutely true.
Yep.
Yes, we have heard of Driver, and he is very, very good at being a driver,
Just
sir,
a couple times.
and being a midfielder. So yeah, so obviously we'll be talking about that too. As always, great to have you back. Great to have you here in one piece. Glad that you enjoyed yourself. Glad the family enjoyed themselves. And sorry that you were caught yelling into a phone randomly at some theme park in Central Florida, and people are sitting there backing away from you, going, "Security, there's a guy here in like the line, and he's tall enough to be on the ride, but apparently he's yelling into his phone, and we don't know why." One of those kind of things.
He doesn't deserve to be here.
Yes, get him out. Go get your milk, my friend. Good to see you.
All right, see y'all.
There goes Tyler, and that's it for hour number one. And so, yes, we are keeping an eye on things officially. Like I said, we're looking at what's going on in AFCON. We're keeping an eye on that. If it continues this way, then we would be looking at the following. We would be looking at, from our friends at the international window, Mauritius being a half away from putting serious dents into Cameroon's qualifying hopes. And right now, Mauritius is being very vicious. That was the best thing I could come up with on quick notice. So right now, we'll go over the halftime scores in AFCON. It is goalless at the break, Eswatini and Angola. Goalless at the break, Mauritius and Cameroon. Mauritius, by the way, came into the day with your juice boxes at a plus 22.25 at home against Cameroon. Cameroon favored at a minus 11.11. They're goalless at the break, having to travel all the way to Mauritius here for the AFCON in this particular round. We got Libya once again. Libya came into today a home dog at a plus 258. Cape Verde came in as a favorite at a plus 129. Cape Verde wins. They can't get touched in match day last. They qualify for the cup that the world is chasing after next year. And we've gone over their story, and we will continue to keep an eye on their story on the Big 55 this morning. So that is where those three are. Ethiopia leading Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau went in as a home favorite this morning. They are trailing. Ethiopia at a plus 472 right now is leading 1-0. A lot of times, and I'll just go ahead and say this before I get into the promos and get you ready for the rest of what's going on. A lot of times, I will look at juice boxes and I will just sit there and go, they're just throwing stuff up against the wall. They don't know. Because when the lines closed on Libya and Cape Verde, both teams were on the plus side. And I have no empirical evidence about this whatsoever. But Cape Verde's plus was literally half of Libya's plus in the composite. I just have a lot of the juice box purveyors sitting in a room. And what do we do here? Well, if we give them a number, they're the favorite. What if we just made the underdog like twice that? Okay, sounds good. And they just post that number, and that's what it is. I wonder how many times out on the planet we just see something like that. Instead of saying they don't know and not wanting to post a number on it, we'll just make it double. Yeah, why not? Do something like that. So that's just my gut feeling when it comes to these kinds of things occasionally. Like I said, I have no empirical evidence that this is their decision-making process at all whatsoever. But I'm looking at that going, wait a second, that's a bit too convenient a number to finish. That's just twice what the original number is. I'm just saying. Like I said, I have no basis in fact whatsoever. But literally when the game kicked off and I saw that the underdog was literally twice the favorite number, I'm like, oh, come on, man. But anyway, getting into the standings as we have them coming into today and what to look for. You're looking at, once again, Group D coming in, Cape Verde 4 points clear, 2 matches to go. Cameroon lost last time out, and they really could not have afforded to if they wanted to be the top team in Group D. Libya at 14 points, a point behind Cameroon. Angola at 10 points. Mauritius, once again, 1, 2, and 5 coming in. 5 points, they've lost 3 of 4. And right now, they've really put a dent in things with their matchup right now with Cameroon. If Mauritius somehow hangs on, Cameroon's only at 16 points. Libya, once again, if they were to win against Cape Verde, Libya would get to 17 points with a match to go in qualifying in Group D. They would be ahead of Cameroon if things stay where they are right now. Cameroon with a draw would be at 16 points. They'd be in third heading into the last match day. That's the kind of chaos that we're staring at here in Group D. That is, like I said, that's what makes this time of year amazing. And like I said, I'm staring at the Big 55. We're at halftime. They're in commercials. So we'll get you back to that and let you know what else is going on with all of the things in the qualifying as it goes. And we'll keep an eye on it. And also, if you follow Jason, our Jason, on the 280 character app, he's giving live updates as well. And he's watching this. So he's locked into this as well. So if I don't catch it, Jason probably catches it before me because I'm not looking to my left and you're not looking at my right ear the entire time. So literally it's like over here. And like I said, they're in commercial and they froze, and it's an ad that froze with a minute 15 on the clock. And so I might have to reload the plus at some point. But, yeah, we'll keep an eye on all of that as we go. Let's see. So Libya's goal, Ethiopia beating Guinea-Bissau. Once again, all you need to know about the qualifying campaign in this cycle. Also, if you want to, you can follow the international window. So window, INTLPOD. The international window folks are also following this as well, and so we'll keep an eye on all of that this morning since we are in at halftime. And we probably should be in the second half, shouldn't we? And like I said, this is what happens when your TV freezes, when the ad freezes on the on all of the activity. Yeah, well, the TV freezes on a commercial. And so this is where you are. Yeah. So second halves are now underway in two of the matches. Eswatini with a goal, leading Angola 1-0. Eswatini really could put a complete and total wrench into everything. So tell you what, since that froze on the ad for Otezla, we're going to go back to the quad box. Ethiopia in the 48th minute now, leading Guinea-Bissau 1-0. Still waiting on the second halves for Libya and Cape Verde and Mauritius and Cameroon. But you know what's going on in Group D. And we'll keep you posted there. At 11 o'clock, you start to get your work in with what's going on in the Middle East and North Africa, Qatar and Oman. And like I said, we'll get into the other AFCON stuff as we go. We'll lay all of the qualification out today. But this is like the day for match day next to last in African qualifiers. Today and tomorrow. It's like half of them are today, half of them are tomorrow. 11 o'clock, you have Oman and Qatar. Qatar is favored at a minus 109. All right, so there's your quad box. And we have 3 of the 4 going on, and right now waiting for the teams to come back out. It is an empty stadium. It looks like it's just players only in Libya for Libya and Cape Verde. Qualification at noon, you got 5 in Africa. Central African Republic is a plus 1230, going up against Ghana at a minus 526. Chad, a plus 1408, hosting Mali at a minus 435. We'll get into the combinations, permutations, and what to look out for in a bit. Comoros favored at home against Madagascar at a plus 133. Djibouti, a plus 4,050. Egypt, big favorite at a minus 5,000. Sierra Leone is a dog at home to Burkina Faso. They are a minus 110. Sierra Leone's a plus 319. At 115, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a minus 164. Indonesia, plus 476. 3 o'clock, Niger and Congo. Niger's a minus 104. Draws a plus 215. Congo's a plus 291. Tanzania, Zambia. Zambia favored in Tanzania at a plus 156. Tanzania is a plus 186. Draws a plus 191. Like I said, we'll go over all of what that means in a bit. Because, like I said, this is African qualifying, and it's to determine, states and positions as you get ready for either Monday or Tuesday or the weekend to finish up the qualifying when it comes to the groups. So we'll go through all of the combinations and permutations and everything that could be impacted today coming up a little later. In addition to all of that, let me cut all the promos here. We got to get into, there's a matchup tonight in Major League Soccer. I got to say hi to everybody here who's here this morning. But let's get into your promos. Once again, if you were hanging out last night, you could be watching a bunch of things in South American football because their league play is still going on, especially in the lower divisions. And you can watch it through Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You could get Teise, Liga 1 Max, Liga 1, all the BNs, being in Espanol, Teise, Gold TV in English and Spanish, where you get to catch up with our buddy Nino Torres and all the activity that he calls. Then you have TVV as well. That is an added bonus. That's another added section of the subscription that you could get at Fanatis. You can watch the Argentinian League. You can watch Paraguay, Uruguay, Tigo Sports, CATV, Canal 4. All of those variants are out there for you, and you can watch it through Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here, and you get to truly add more and more leagues to the leagues that you watch already. If you are a true person that has to have coffee a certain way, because like I said, Tyler didn't have milk in his coffee, so for Tyler that's a bit of an issue. You can go and start your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code right there. For those of you who are hanging out with us and watching however you're watching, large device or small, go use that QR code. For those of you who are watching on the video side, then you kick back in, and we want you to buy out the store. But when you buy out the store at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, you can do so. You can do so by using the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, at Kickoff Coffee, take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So we recommend that you do that. You buy out the store, and you can completely and totally just stock your cupboards with Kickoff Coffee, give it to your friends for all the holidays coming up and things like that. But once again, Soccer Down Here 15 gets you 15% off. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Substitution for Cape Verde coming in to start the second half. And it is still 1-0, goalless, 1-0, and 2-1. And that's where we are here early second half in the AFCON almost watch-along. Like I said, I made the mistake of getting out of the quad box, so I couldn't see what was going on and was just focused on Cape Verde and Libya. Not doing the same thing twice. So I've got the quad box up on the big 55. All right, let's see. What other promos? Oh, Olive and York, you can get your SDH jersey if you don't have it yet. The Navy jersey, white stripes down the side. Kaiser Permanente, can't do anything without them. They're on the front. Very, very 80s floppy collar. You can have it personalized. Either in white letters and numerals or in the Carolina blue, Columbia blue, double blue, however you want to phrase it, on the back, name and number. Consult with Alex and Abby and find out which one is better for you, which one you like better. Abby's got both. So you can help out our Soccer for Good campaign there. Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. You might be seeing a lot of us wearing the Grady Baby gear. The Soccer is just better in Atlanta material. The gold embossed phrasing. You can get it either in red or in black, and you can get it either in a T-shirt or a sweatshirt. And the Grady Baby logo is on one cuff. The SDH Network logo is on another cuff. And then once again, you can help out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta Public School System with your work that we have with Grady Baby. Once again, sweatshirt, T-shirt, red, black. Soccer is just better in Atlanta, and you can get that. And you've seen Maddie wear it. The boss wears ours. She doesn't wear the red because she can't. So she wears the black. I wear the red. You've seen me wear the sweatshirt before. It's really comfortable. And once again, you help out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public School System. Let's see what else. You can go to the SDH store, get the SDH gear with the new logo. You go to soccerdownhere.net. You go to the shop section, and everything that we have is available there. You can also get Jason's artwork from the Attack and from the Ruckus, I believe, that has been Jasonified. And so he's pulled the old logos, and he's done some retrification to it. And you can get the Attack, and you can get that gear, the SDH gear as well. You can get that at the store. So you can show your support for SDH, whether it's for mouse pads, tumblers, T-shirts, the sweatshirts, the whole deal. You can get that once again. Go to soccerdownhere.net. Go to the shop section. Get all the gear. and then you can show your support there. Once again, proceeds heading to Soccer for Good here in 2025. I'm trying to think. Be a Fanatico. So if you want to be a Fanatico, it's $10 a year. What do you do? What do you do for $10 a year? I ask you, what do you do for $10 a year? It's like literally, it is it is one of those things where if you had $10 and if you just forego, well, if you forego, but if it's foregone, is it forewent? That's the grammar question for the day. If you give up, let's do it that way. If you give up a cup of coffee or something akin to that, then you could invest in being a Fanatico here at SDH. And we do it through our Chant app. And you go here. Let me see if I can do it without everything shining into people's eyes. For those of you watching on the video side of things, you go to Chant. You go through our Chant app, and there are a lot of great partners that are here. And the proceeds, once again, for being a Fanatico, go to our Soccer for Good campaign. The partners that we have that are attached to being a Fanatico, and I'll give you the group that you can join. Once again, be a Fanatico. You get a lot of cool discounts, like Putt Shack in Midtown. They've just been added. They're a new partner. 20% off mini golf for any private event at Putt Shack. Rev Coffee Roasters in Smyrna, they're new. Brass Tap is in. Moxie is in Midtown, 20% off hotel food and beverage. So literally, if you go into the Moxie and you're a Fanatico and you eat there, 20% off hotel food and beverage, which is really cool. Then you've got, you can catch up with our friend Derek there too. South Main Brewing, Schoolhouse Brewing, Atlanta Hard Cider, Elixir, Buford and Monroe, Round Trip in East Cobb, Social Fox in Norcross, Keys to Flavor Catering in Sugar Hill, 15% off your first catered event with them. Fido Midtown, 10% off all food tabs. O'Sullivan's in Decatur, $5 select beers, 10% off the food bill, 10% off merch. Lloyd's Soccer in Johns Creek, 20% off select Atlanta United gear. Finished Goods Brew Works, $1 off select beers in Winder. Slow Pour, $1 off select beers in Lawrenceville. Outrun, $1 off select beers in Stone Mountain. Tires Plus in Alpharetta. $25 off alignment services, $25 off oil change, $50 off for tires at the Alpharetta location on Old Milton Parkway. Wild Leap, Dad's Garage, Chateau Arenal, if you want to go to Costa Rica and go watch soccer down there. And that'd be the title of what you would be doing, soccer down there. You go to Chateau Arenal, 10% off any booking if you're a Fanatico. Literally, you could go down to El Castillo, San Ramon, Costa Rica, go hang out at Chateau Arenal, and if you're a Fanatico, you get a code, you get a discount. Battle and Brew at Sandy Springs and the Battery as well. And you're going, well, then how do I do that? Well, you've told me, it's like, how do I do it? So here's how. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and go, I'm going to type it in and hope that I can see what's going on. And I have to do it carefully because I'm somewhat obstructed in trying to type, and I'm guessing that I type it correctly, and then I hit return. So there you go. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. So that is how you can. That is how you can be a part of what we are doing here at SDH on a bunch of different fronts. So once again, the updates as to what is going on right now. Your live scoring in AFCON. Eswatini now 2-0 against Angola with 30 to go. Ethiopia 1-0 on Guinea-Bissau. Libya 2-1 on Cape Verde. Mauritius still drawing Cameroon in the 56th minute. Once again, Eswatini was a big underdog. Ethiopia was a big underdog. Libya was an underdog. Mauritius was an astronomical underdog. So right now, the home teams are all getting results short of Mauritius, who is the biggest underdog on the board in the 4 early matches in AFCON. So we are looking at a half hour to go, and nothing has changed. It is 2-0, once again, 2-0 goalless, 1-0 and 2-1. So keep an eye on all that. Once again, Oman and Qatar kicking off in about 40 minutes. So we'll let you know what's going on with all the other matchups as we go in AFCON later this morning. Time to say hi to everybody and say hi to everyone who is in here this morning. And it is Dr. D and David, and good morning, Michael. I don't know if anyone else is on Spoon Watch. Don't know. Emilio, morning Lokeville, morning Pars. Yeah, see now that Emilio, that would be great to get the goal horn, the Montreal end of period horn, like at the old Forum. That would be great to get that kind of a goal horn. And for that's like at the Forum or Labatt's Arena. I think they transferred it over from the old Forum over to the arena, but where they are now. But it's that one. I'm gonna see if I can get that one. I'm gonna see if I can ISO the Montreal Canadiens goal horn, and that would be when goals are scored. We'll do that for like updates and stuff. Then let's see. So let's see. Morning Pars. Let's see. Dr. D wants to know if it's a management or a personnel problem. I mean, if you were to go to practice and you would see what they do and trying to understand what Ronnie Dyla and the staff want them to do, you'd sit there and go, okay, they get it. But then when it goes into matches where points and goals are concerned, then you wonder where it goes. And I think we have seen it get sorted out, Dr. D, in certain points. Remember, early in this season, you had too many folks in too little a space on the right-hand side. You had a lot of folks trying to go up the right wing, and then they would get crowded over there, and then they would all try and think the same thing, working their way over into the inside channel on the right-hand side. I think moving Miggy to the left has helped ease that to where they're not, crashing like bumper cars like we saw a lot early in the first part of the schedule. I think that it happened in two stages. One, when you have and this is just when the lineup had, say, Miranchuk and Miggy on the right. When you had a right back that was more defensive minded in Ronald, I think that helped out a lot, because then that meant that Ronald would come forward, don't get me wrong, but you weren't having as many collisions. And literally it was like they're all running into the same space, and it's like bumper cars, like at Six Flags. I think that was one thing that helped it on the right-hand side. And then what you wanted to do when you had the attack somewhat figured out on the right-hand side, then you move Miggy to the left, because everybody was defensively, they were slanted. So it's like, okay, if we defend them on the right and there's no outlet to the left-hand side, then we've got them pinned in and they're going to have an issue. And so I think moving Miggy away from the crowd on the right to the left has created those options for you, at least on the wings anyway. And so I think that was probably one of the things. Those are two of the activities that helped out as we've gone through all of this and kind of progressed through the season and looking at the offense. I think that once again, you were crowded on the right-hand side. You went a little bit more defensive from the back. That helped ease all of the overcrowding and the desiring for being in the same space. I think that having someone more defensive helped you out on the right. And then everybody had you pinned in on the right, so you move Miggy to the left, and that gives you more options. And so I think that's I think that just trying to the implementation of the plan and what Ronnie and the staff want them to do, I don't think that the staff was the issue or is the issue. But when you have the same folks wanting to do the same things in the same space, then that's where you are. And that's kind of what we've been getting into. So morning, Jordan, and morning, Dr. D. And here comes Jarrett Smith in from the Mountain Time Zone. So how are mountains down here this morning, sir?
I got snow on some of
them.
No, we had like 2 inches of rain last weekend, which was weird. But obviously with elevation, that rain turns into a different kind of precipitation.
Yeah.
So we got snow on some of them up here. Actually, it's supposed to rain more this weekend, so should get some more.
Okay.
It just makes it look pretty. It's not infecting me.
Yes.
Like, it's not snowing on me or anything. It just looks pretty in the distance.
Okay. Your AFCON update is now in the 59th minute and beyond. Right now, Eswatini still is 2 to the good on Angola, causing problems for Angola as they chase after a possible play-in spot. Ethiopia is still leading 1-0 as an underdog against Guinea-Bissau in the 65th. Then you now have a third goal on the board with Libya. So Libya is a half hour away from getting everything in Group D to match day last with Cape Verde. They're now up 3-1. The crowd in Libya was smart. They all went on the shaded side of the stadium in Tripoli. Very, very smart move by them. And now Cameroon is on the board. And so Cameroon is now 1-0 at Mauritius in the 62nd minute. So right now, that's kind of where things are. Cameroon is now a point behind Cape Verde, and it looks like it's heading to match day last for Cape Verde to get in to the cup that the world is chasing in 2026. So that's your quick AFCON update, Jarrett. That's where we are with about a half hour to go in the 4 matches that kicked off at 9 o'clock.
Okay, well, there you go. I see Libya scored in like the first minute.
Yeah, it was a 4th minute own goal. Yeah, it was a 4th minute own goal.
Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, they scored at the jump though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. Hope they're having a good day.
Yes, and so that's kind of where we are involving Cape Verde as we continue to track Cape Verde. And that was an absolute rocket, by the way, from the Libyans from distance. Outside the 18 from like 22 or 3 for their third goal. They're in the 59th minute, at least on television. But the delay coming through the plus, they are in the 61st. So 68th minute, Eswatini leading. 67th minute, Ethiopia leading. 61st minute, Libya leading. 63rd minute, Cameroon leading. So it looks like things are going to get crowded for the match day last. But Cape Verde, all they need to do is stay 1 point ahead of Cameroon in group, and then they will make it to the competition coming up in the summer as the second smallest nation ever to make it into the tournament. So that's where we at. Aiden Torres, possible linkage, and Stephen Moreira of Crew actually on the roster today in Tripoli, Libya. So that's a road trip, sir. That is a heck of a road trip from Columbus, Ohio to Tripoli, Libya to play for your national team.
It is.
I don't think there are direct flights though.
And be careful how you talk about a rocket from Libya.
Yes,
Doc
absolutely.
Brown. Doc Brown might not be ready to hear that again.
Yes,
it's been a while, but
yes, absolutely true.
Yeah,
so
Doc Brown does not sit well with that information.
No, that is absolutely true.
So it's a long flight, but you know what? Hey man, all hands on deck.
Yes, absolutely. So you've got today, you've got Monday and travel, and so we're keeping an eye on AFCON all the way through this morning. The one thing that we have not gotten into yet, Tyler was on in the first hour, and we were discussing the matchup with Atlanta United and Messi and friends coming up this weekend.
It's going to kind of be and friends, isn't it?
It is. It is absolutely going to be and friends. You're going to have Suarez, Busquets, and Alba. They will be a part of that lineup. And Rodrigo and Messi will not. But with the Jordi Alba retirement, and we really didn't get to catch up with you about Jordi Alba or Darlington Nagbe yesterday. Jordi Alba retiring, it looks like Sergio Reguilon might be signing a deal. Right now, it's on a free because he's a free agent from his time from Spurs. So it looks like Sergio Reguilon might be the next one in line to be a DP come next year. And the contract is being reported to go through 2028. So Sergio Reguilon is very, very interested in being a part of Messi and friends. And he might be the next one picked up for the team, but he would not obviously play in the last 3 matches of the season or 2 matches of the season. He would be kicking in next year.
Yeah. So this we talked about Darlington a little bit yesterday. Again, one of the best players to ever play on this continent, not just MLS, but on this continent.
Yes.
And again, he won the lottery. I wish him nothing but the best.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one of the things. So like with Alba retiring too, which it caught me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sergio Busquets made sense because Sergio Busquets kind of moves like a skeleton at this point.
Yep.
Like for an average human being, he could dust all of us and embarrass us and destroy us. But as a top flight athlete, he's just slipping. because he's 30 some odd, 36 years old, something other. But I was surprised Alba is retiring. In other sports, like in baseball particularly, we see this thing in baseball where when a guy announces his retirement before the season, he kind of gets gifts on the way out from other teams.
Yep.
What if, like, when Messi retires, whenever the hell that happens, and I don't know if he retires through Miami. I still wonder. I part of my brain.
See, he started talking.
Kinda,
He's in between mountains and in between cells. He started talking about Messi, and people got mad. Try it again. You were in between. You were in between mountains, and everything cut out.
Yeah. So if Messi retires, like if he says like do the baseball thing,
yeah.
Like, would everybody have to give him a gift in every city?
I don't.
Like, he comes to Atlanta, we got to give him something. Orlando has to give him something. DC, all that jazz.
Well, okay. So so if he comes to Atlanta as a part of the retirement tour, and you're in charge of the gift committee, what do you give Lionel Messi as a thank you gift / retirement gift when Messi and friends come to Mercedes-Benz Stadium? What do you give him in that instance? Do you give him the rocking chair and think he's going to get mad Messi all of a sudden?
No, I'm taking him to Chateau Elan and like letting him decide, hey, do you want anything from here? If not, how would you improve it? Like I'm getting weird fancy with it, like Athens style fancy with this.
Okay.
I don't know. I might do something like that. I don't know what else I'd give him. Like, what are you gonna give him that's Atlanta based that he's like going to love? You know?
Oh, I was just gonna give him like a varsity gift card.
That's just mean.
I mean, look, if he goes and samples it and the kids enjoy it, and the kids enjoy it.
Brad's gloves from the playoffs last year. Oh my God, he'd hate you. He would drop 8 goals in that retirement match just out of spite.
Oh man,
that would be amazing, though. Yes, please do that. Okay, that's the answer. Give him Brad's goals in the playoffs.
Okay, so yeah, Dr. D wins. We're giving Brad's gloves away from the playoff game. That'll work. If you are the purple team, what are you giving him if you're the purple team?
Okay, so this also led into what you and I discussed this morning off air, John, of the Richarlison rumors.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into that yet. So I want to get into it, but let's get we're talking purple team.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, hey, here's a lifetime pass to Universal and to Disney, and I don't know, like what chain restaurant do you like? Because I think Bahama Breeze shut down, so that's out. Yeah, that's off the menu.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like Orlando's petty enough to just
7-Eleven franchise or something.
Maybe, man. I don't know. There's a bunch of 7-Elevens out here. I've been let down by them. I walked in. I'm like, there's a slushy machine. That's about it.
That's disappointing.
I'm disappointed. I know. Like the go-to out here is Maverick, which is basically like QT.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
That's been my go-to. So.
Fabrizio Romano this morning.
Go ahead.
Before the show, released this bit of information. The Orlando City Board presented a project to Richarlison for next summer with a mission to London to meet with his agents. The MLS side, led by director Ricardo Moreira, spoke to Richarlison's camp per the 4-letter, but he's a key player for Spurs now. So basically, Moreira and Orlando City, the purple team, went to London to catch up with Richarlison. They're like, bruh, we want you to come in. apparently, Richarlison is quite pleased right now with where he is with Spurs, making the ish ton of money. Let's see what Richarlison's salary actually is. So literally, you had the Orlando City, the Purple Team's front office, go to London to see if they could recruit Richarlison to be a cornerstone for their future. So you're looking at the payroll table, and this is courtesy of our friends at Spot Track. Spurs payroll table, annual salary for Richarlison is only £4.7 million. He's making £90,000 a week. So it's manageable. It is a manageable number. Sonny was making just under 10. Richarlison is making 4.7. And the contract expires in 27 because they figured what they could do, meaning the Purple Team, is if they go and they talk to Richarlison and his agents and all of his people and get him to agree that in that 6-month window leading up to the end of his contract, they could sit there and negotiate something, or they could just buy him out. Or they can, Spurs would sit there and go, you want him, you got to pay for him, you got to pay the full fee. But Richarlison's annual salary is only £4.68 million, £4,680,000. That to me seems like, Jarrett, a navigable salary number for someone like a Richarlison that you want to be a centerpiece of your future. I mean, that seems like a doable thing, you know?
It does. The salary part is very doable. The fee part is where the thorn will stick in the paw.
Yes.
Because Spurs might come, you might take that to Spurs, you might take it to Richarlison, and you might take it to Spurs, and they might go, look, he's more valuable to us right now than he would be being sold. Like he has more value to us on our roster than value that he would bring from a sale. We would prefer to keep him. I know it's kind of like I'm kind of like just roughly chopping up that sentence structure wise.
No, but
the
still,
value to him is higher. The value to them might be higher to have him than to just let him walk.
Yeah.
Even if they get a chunk of money, they might not think we can. They might argue like, hey, we could sell him, but for what we get from him, would we be able to match what he is for this club? And that's a question they're going to have to answer. All that being said, I would love to see it from Orlando, because not in the sense of like I want to see Orlando be good. I don't. I want to see them cry. But I like the ambition. It should not be just LAFC and the Galaxy and Atlanta and a couple others with this ambition. And you've seen other teams try this ambition. You saw New York City, New York Red Bulls bring in Forsberg. You've seen other places try and bring in guys, and not just like veterans anymore, but like in prime players. Obviously, Atlanta's did not work this year in the understatement of the year here in early October.
Yes.
But I still like the ambition. And obviously everyone else did, because they were like picked to go to the cup until they weren't, and until it fell apart. But I like the ambition. I hope they'll keep that ambition, and I hope other clubs keep this ambition. I hope more clubs do this Orlando style of like, hey, here's this player we really like. He's prime, and we can go get him, but we can at least ask, hey, you want to come here? Because hell, they'll probably give him a salary bump. They'll probably give him the same thing. You get a silver pass to Disney, you get a silver pass to Universal, you get like lightning passes to the front of the line whenever you want. How do you feel about Beef O'Brady's? We'll give you a lifetime like free meal thing there. Like you said, the Sun Pass, you don't have to pay to go on the Turnpike.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, man. Like you said it before, and I'll say it again. America ain't a bad place to be if you're rich, and homeboy would be coming here rich.
Yes. So. And you also, would be getting you would not have to worry about paychecks, not getting them or them bouncing or anything like that. Back
I
in
don't
late
think he has to
June,
worry about that at Spurs, but
no,
in South America, yeah, that's the thing, baby. You ain't
back
joking.
back in June when Thomas Frank came into Spurs, so late June, Thomas Frank goes from Brentford to Spurs. It looked like Thomas Frank was sanctioning the exit for Richarlison because they were, according to Yahoo Sports back at the time, Spurs ready to cut their losses given his injury woes, and he wants to leave England. This was late June. So now you can see why the purple team started knocking on his door. Richarlison was expected to sign for Galatasaray, could have been available for £20 million. So
That's
right
doable.
there, he was, right now, he was signed from Everton for an initial fee of 50 plus add-ons back in 22, 90 appearances, he's 20 plus 10. They were chasing after Mohamed Kudus at the time, and they wanted to try and grab him for less than his 85 million release clause. But so Spurs was ready to accept 20-ish, I guess, for Galatasaray for Richarlison, who wants to leave. And so it makes a lot of sense that the purple team, or anyone for that matter, would be knocking on the door. Hey, bro, we want you to be the centerpiece and we want you to be the cornerstone of what we're building from now on, even though your contract's until 27. So his yearly salary in dollars is just under 6.3. So if you were to match that, give him an annual salary of 6.3, drop 20, which has been done in Major League Soccer, just ask Atlanta, you could have been getting Richarlison, but for one reason or another, this washed out. Don't know if it was time, don't know if it was timing or what. But this seemed like a doable thing. You just wonder what the hiccup was for Richarlison and the purple team, according to Fabrizio Romano. That would have been a very interesting idea if that had been pulled off. And it looks like it still could be navigated if the numbers hadn't changed. It have not changed since then.
Yeah, like I said, just think it just depends on how much in terms, because like if they're only getting, let's say they get 20 million for him. Let's say Orlando says, hey, we'll give you 20 million plus add-ons. And I think the Wilf family is running Orlando now. So they're good for it. Like this doesn't feel like a John Texter thing where, which we haven't seen his name in the news recently, but John Texter talking big shit and then not paying his debts.
Yeah, still.
Yeah,
he's kicking the can down the road. His lawyers are the ones that are making the money right now.
Yeah, billable hours there will be plentiful ones.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel like that kind of thing. If they think he can be that centerpiece, then by all means, Orlando, go for it. I would love to see more clubs do it. Zaha was that kind of guy for Charlotte. Like I know Zaha, for Zaha is not like the name doesn't carry the same gravitas, maybe.
Yeah,
but like
and he's
what
also
he's
in his mid-30s as opposed to Richarlison at 28.
Yeah, but there's still a couple years left on those tires, and like I would love to see Charlotte next aim at somebody who's like 26, 27 years old.
I mean,
But keep doing that. Atlanta, like, hey, this didn't work. We still don't know what Atlanta's offseason might just be decimation, like Roman decimation.
Yeah.
Not literally, but not literally killing, but like every 10th man is cut.
Yeah.
But I hope that Atlanta is not scared off by the 2025 season. And they go and, if Emmanuel Latelot doesn't stick here, and I hope you keep being aggressive like this.
Yep.
And maybe you change the way you're, evaluating guys to bring in. But I hope other clubs around MLS, as I'm hitting my, as the whistle is blowing for me.
Okay.
But I hope other clubs in MLS are also looking at this going, if we get our evaluations right and our valuations right, we can do this. Go drop 15, 20 million on a key guy in his prime. Keep doing it. I like the aspiration, John.
There you go. All right. And so there goes Jarrett, who is staring at snow-capped mountain peaks because rain turns into snow at the elevations that he's at. So following up on that information from Fabrizio Romano. Sources told ESPN Brazil this, but Bruno Andrade and Cindy Garcia over at the Four Letter are saying that the transfer fee is 40 million and not the 40 million euro or 46.4, despite the Yahoo Sports report that said that he could be had by Turkish teams for 20 million pounds. So I would imagine that the truth is somewhere in the middle when it comes to navigable release for Richarlison. They wanted to sign him to a long-term deal, make him that cornerstone heading into the Cup the world is chasing in 2026. Richarlison insisted in the last transfer window, keen to continue at Spurs for at least another year. So that takes us up to the end of that contract, which would be the 26th season, or for him it would be right toward the end of that deal. So he would be in the window to navigate and sign a new deal with anybody. So my guess is he wants to stay. If you take the information from the Yahoo Sports report and convert it to the information that we're getting from the information from the Four Letter and ESPN Brazil, it sounds like from Andrade and Garcia that Richarlison wanted to stay at least until that 6-month window, which would be January of 27. And then you could navigate a release, and then it would be out the door for Richarlison if he was still interested in going to Orlando or anyone at that point. You're in that 6-month navigation where Spurs, if Richarlison signed a pre-contract in January of 27, then Spurs would be getting nothing. So in the summer of 26, say World Cup time would be that point where Spurs would be sitting there and hanging the Richarlison shingle back out in front of the front door and going, does anybody want him? He's 29. So January of 20, so it would be the summer of 26. So literally during the World Cup, this is where we put the bookmark in Richarlison. Summer of 26, if my math is right, then you're a year out. Summer of 27, he's done. Contract is through 27. So if the contract is through the end of 27, I'm guessing 27 season, so the 26-27 season. A year out, summer of 26, that's when Spurs get serious. Hey, do you want to stay or no? And then it's up to Richarlison after the World Cup is over. So you're talking at the beginning of the 26-27 season for Richarlison and his agents to sit there and go, okay, we still want to stay. He's 29. We're looking forward to it. Or we don't know. Or, nah, we're good. So those are the three bears involving Richarlison here. Next summer, that's when business starts to pick up, since the deal did not get done this past go-round. When Thomas Frank, apparently, according to Yahoo, was like, yep, okay, cool, he wants to go. But now it's different for the time being because you still have this asset that is under your charge for another, what? So another year, so another 22 months. You have Richarlison under your charge, and it is up to you in the next 10 to figure out what you want to do and then start the negotiating, because you know that Richarlison and his agent, they're going to sit there. It's like, we'll get back to you after the World Cup. We're not going to be doing anything right now. Thank you. I want my client to focus on representing his country and doing what he can for the beautiful sport in Brazil. Something like that. That'll be some release given by the agent. Dell, hang on to that. I'll be there in a second. So now you've got 10 months to figure out if you're Spurs and or Richarlison what you want to do with your future. With this offer that was on the table from Moreira and the Purple Team, what do you want to do? We want you here. You couldn't get it worked out this time. I think you could navigate the release clause. Because if Yahoo is saying Thomas Frank was willing to do 20 and ESPN Brazil is saying 40 million euro or whatever, 46.4 million, you probably could go somewhere in the middle. It would probably be, if this deal comes to pass in the next 14 months, it would be the new number one deal in Major League Soccer. You find out how serious you are in getting Richarlison over here. That 4.6 million pound salary at 6.2 US, that's navigable. That's easy. Teams are doing that now with their superstars. That's an easy one. Richarlison's a DP for the purple team. You pay him whatever. You pay him $6 million. Shoot, you pay him $8 million. He's making more than he would currently for Spurs. It's a year older. There are injury concerns. That would be the biggest element in this for anyone who wants to sign Richarlison to a contract are the injuries. So we've seen release clause anywhere from 20 to 40. You probably can get it in the middle somewhere. Richarlison's making 4.6 right now, which is 6.2 US. You could handle that. So is there an ownership group that's serious? Orlando looks like they were serious about it. Do they continue to be serious over the next 10 months to keep an eye on things? Then they start after the World Cup kind of coming back to Richarlison's agent and sitting there going, hey, bro, we want you to be a part of things. Our interest hasn't waned. Something else for them to talk about until January, because then that's when January 27, Richarlison can sit there and go, you know what? If nothing has happened with Spurs, or if something has happened but nothing has happened, if you know what I mean. You navigate all that stuff. You get to January 27, Spurs get nothing for him. So literally you're looking at the next 14 months, if it's through 27 and I'm interpreting that correctly. The next 14 months are big for anybody that would want to bring in Richarlison at the age of 29 heading to 30. So keep an eye on that. Fourth season with Spurs, joined once again from Everton, deal worth 60 million pounds or 80.4 million through June of 27. So we do have that correct. 3 goals, 1 assist, 7 Premier League appearances this season. He's with Brazil for the friendlies against South Korea and Japan. So your markers, January 27, where you can sign a pre-contract with anybody. Spurs get nothing. June of 26, that's when clock ticks. You're at 12 months. Spurs have to figure out what they want to do. They want to negotiate for the next 6 months, but you're not going to hear anything until August 1st. And then you're going to get into the season, and that's when it's going to get messy because MESSY. Because Richarlison as an athlete is not going to want to negotiate in season. He'll leave it to his agents. He'll have to continue to address it publicly, and he'll say all the right things. I'm focused on my career. I'm here benefiting Spurs. I want to do what's best with the team. That's what you're going to get. From the end of the World Cup in 26 until January 27, that's what you're going to get in your sound bites from Richarlison. And everything will be referred to the agent, the front office. With Spurs, we'll continue to say the same things. We'd love to have him as a part of what's going on here. We love to have him as a part of our future. You will get all of that talk from after the World Cup to January 27. But if Spurs get to January 27, the door's open. So we keep an eye on that with Richarlison here. Those are the dates, and that's what you're staring at. So, and yes, Dell being the intrepid producer that he is, let us know about what's going on with Charleston Battery. And they're obviously not happy at Patriots Point. We'll get into that in a second. So that's an interesting piece of news from the soccer side of things involving Richarlison. Apparently, Cristiano Ronaldo is saying his family is asking me to stop. I want 1,000 goals. And once again, shocking no one. He's also the first billionaire soccer player, according to reports. Haji Wright was involved in the press conferences yesterday with the USYNT as they get ready for their friendlies here in the October window. He admitted Frank Lampard has inspired their form at Coventry. And once again, no real surprise there. Arsenal is looking to expand Emirates Stadium. It means that if they're going to do that, they need to find a place to play. It might be London's Olympic Stadium. So keep an eye on that. Emphatic start to the Women's Champions League. Barca put 7 past Bayern. Eva Pajor, Claudia Pina scored twice. beat Bayern 7-1, beaten Arsenal in last year's final in Lisbon. Alexia Putellas scored first. 2 from Pajor, 2 from Pina, 1 from Putellas. Esme Brooks got 1 in the 27th, assisted Salma Paraguayo to make it 4-1 at the half. And they cruised from there. So the scores from the Women's Champions League yesterday and the juice boxes for today. And once again, matches are winding down time-wise, but Cape Verde has fought all the way back. Are you serious? That's what happens when you look away for a couple of minutes. It is 3-3. Cape Verde has fought all the way back. They are in the 89th minute. Eswatini and Angola are finished. They are done at 2s. You could have had that at a plus 261. Ethiopia over Guinea-Bissau 1-0. Ethiopia was a big underdog at home up against Guinea-Bissau. 90 plus. Cape Verde has fought all the way back. Can they get a point in Libya? We'll keep an eye on that. Cameroon with a goal on the board. 1-0 at Mauritius. So if the score stands with Cape Verde and Libya, then going into match day last in AFCON qualifying, Cape Verde would have a 2-point advantage in group. And they're going against Eswatini, who registered a point today. So once again, we'll keep an eye on the last 2 matches, and then we'll update you with what's going on with the rest of AFCON, and we'll let you know what's up there. So quickly, let me go through all of the other news that we see. We'll get into the Women's Champions League. We got to get into that just a little bit here. So, okay, Women's League Cup, Premier League Cup, Europe, Champions League Women. Okay, so here's what happened yesterday in Champions League Women. Once again, we talk about the 7 that got put on the board by Barca against Bayern. Lyon beat Arsenal 2-1. Barcelona, big favorite, they won. Paris FC and Leuven drew at 2 at a plus 601. Juve over Benfica by the score of 2-1. They were favored. We have fans leaving at one game that's up 1-0. Today, 12:45s, Real Madrid, big favorite at minus 303 with Roma. Twente is a plus 928 hosting Chelsea at a minus 526. 3 o'clock. Manchester United, big favorite, minus 556, hosting Vålerenga at a plus 1514. St. Pölten, big underdog, hosting Atletico Madrid at a minus 526. St. Pölten is a plus 1155. Wolfsburg, minus 125, hosting PSG at a plus 277. So that's the Champions League activity that is going on today in Europe. Europa Cup for the women is also going on, and qualification was going on earlier this morning. There's a lot of games. Young boys, women beat Sarajevo at a minus 263. Slavia Prague beat Austria Vienna. Inter, big favorite, hosting Vlasnia. Fortuna Hjøring is a favorite on the road at Vorskla Portava. That is probably not being played in Ukraine. Muda favored at home against Dinamo Minsk. Koge at a minus 145, favored against Glasgow City. Eintracht Frankfurt minus 10,000, hosting Slovako at a plus 3067. Grasshopper, big dog at home, hosting Ajax at a minus 303. Anderlecht a minus 159, hosting Braga. Sparta Prague minus 400, hosting Ferencvaros. Breidablik a minus 250, hosting Subotica. So that's Europa Cup on the women's side. Okay, so trying to see if everything has gone final in the group. So let's see. Has everything gone final? Still going on north of 90 plus. You have Cameroon now leading Mauritius 2-0. So that one looks like that one's in the barn. They scored in the 3rd minute of 8 added. 7 minutes added for Libya and Cape Verde. Libya have a corner. And so Libya sends it in flat toward the penalty spot, goes through everything, And so they're still going. So once again, 7 added minutes, Cape Verde and Libya. Looks like Cape Verde is going to have a 2-point lead heading into match day last to try and make their way to the World Cup. And obviously we'll keep you up to date on that story. So AFCON. Here's what you're looking at when it comes to the AFCON qualifiers. And we mentioned Egypt. Egypt is in. They have qualified. They would seal qualification with a win against Djibouti. Once again, still searching for their first win, second crack when they host Guinea-Bissau. Burkina Faso needs a miracle for first, but they'd have to beat Sierra Leone to get second. A win for Sierra Leone gets them level on points, meaning it could be decided final match day if Guinea-Bissau is still mathematically in contention. Then you have Group B. That's a couple days away, so we're good on Group B. Group C is also 2 days away, so you're good there. We mentioned what's going on with Group D, and it appears, so 90 plus 3 is where we are with Libya and with Cape Verde, and 90 plus 6, you have Cameroon leading 2-0. So once again, you probably will have Cape Verde at 20, unless there's something that happens that we don't know about. Cameroon would be at 18, and Libya would be at 15. So Libya would have to win and make up a huge goal difference on match day last, and Cameroon would have to lose. So it looks like it's going to be some combination of Cape Verde and Cameroon in Group D. So once again, that's going on right now. Also on the board at 3 o'clock, it is Group E. It is Tanzania, Zambia, Niger, Congo, and that's happening today. Tanzania right now is in second, but it is Morocco and everybody else. Morocco's at 21 points. Tanzania and Niger are your 2 and your 3. Tanzania, this would be their 8th game. 8th of 10. So that's what you're looking at with Tanzania, Zambia, Niger, and Congo. Niger needs a win. Tanzania needs a loss if you're Niger in Group E. Zambia has 6 points, 6 matches, 6 points. The Congo DRC has 6 matches played, 1 point goal difference of minus 17. And remember, Eritrea, they pulled out of the group. And that kind of caused everything to go upside down and try to reconfigure how they were going to try and figure out who was going to make it to the next level. Tomorrow, it is Group F in the AFCON. Denis Bouanga and Gabon are involved tomorrow. Also tomorrow, it is Group G, Algeria, Uganda, Mozambique for the 1, the 2, and the 3. So once again, still keeping an eye on things involving the Cape Verde activity. Cameroon did get the win, so they are now at 18 points, a point behind Cape Verde for another couple of minutes. Once again, 7 added, Cape Verde and Libya. And Cape Verde is on the attack, and they've been in the ascendancy, obviously, for the last 15, 20 minutes, equalizing down 3-1. And a transition opportunity for Libya. So we'll keep an eye on that. Cameroon has drawn to within a point of Cape Verde. Cape Verde right now in a draw. We still got a couple of minutes. We'll keep an eye on that. When that one goes, then we'll go. So also, Del, to your point that you brought in this morning. So you DM'd it to me. Hang on just a second. So I've got to keep an eye out for that. And so apparently, according to what is going on in Charleston, it appears that owner Rob Salvatore wants a more permanent stadium for the Charleston Battery. He wants a new stadium for the team. Says it'll happen. Talks in the development stages right now. So apparently not happy with Patriots Point with all the renovations that they've done there. So we'll see what happens with Patriots Point, with the Charleston Battery, and you're looking for a new barn. I would be intrigued to sit there and go, okay, where are you going to put it? And where are you not going to make sure that everybody disappears and, it's difficult to get to? That would be the big question for me. Cape Verde has scored. Now, is it onside? Is the flag up? Flag was up. They had the chance to get the goal to go ahead 4-3. Flag was up for offside. It is final. So Cape Verde and Libya draw at 3. Cameroon wins 2-0. Ethiopia wins 1-0. Eswatini and Angola a 2-2 draw. So here's where we are in Group D. So Dell says that the Battery are building a training center in Awanda, traveling north towards Myrtle Beach. So keep an eye on that. So Cape Verde at 20 points, heading to match day last, 2 points ahead of Cameroon. Libya third at 15 points, but well behind in goal difference. And so 5 days from now, Monday morning, we probably will have our answer. We're going to have our answer as to what Group D is going to look like. Will the second smallest nation in the history chasing after a World Cup berth, will they get it? They're going to have to wait till Monday. And they're going to take on Eswatini to do it. Eswatini, 3 draws, 6 losses, 9 matches. They've drawn all 3 in their last 5. Snapped a 2-game losing streak with the point today. But Cape Verde, 2 points ahead of Cameroon, 5 points ahead of Libya. That's your 1, your 2, and your 3 in Group D. So that's the latest there. And you've got AFCON all afternoon, and you get to keep an eye on all of that for you. Cleared on the Google satellite image. Okay, so Dell, once again, doing a whole lot of research here, the intrepid producer for what's going on. So they want to do it up in Allendale. And if you want to take a peek at what's going on, where they've cleared out all the space, Dell has that locked in for you. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else. Once again, let's remind what you can watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Once again, it's a lot of the AFCON material that is going on today. And so you've got that going on. It's all going to be on the Plus. You can keep an eye out for all of that going on. International friendly now on the Deuce, Gibraltar, New Caledonia, the U20s, round of 16, Argentina, Nigeria, Paraguay, Norway, 3:30 and 7 o'clock. Tonight, League Pass, LAFC, Toronto FC, that's at 10:30. Once again, 5 matches at noon in AFCON, 1 at 1:15, 1 at 3. They're all on the Plus. Fox Soccer Plus, Colombia, South Africa, 3:30, Japan, France in the U20 World Cup at 7 o'clock. Women, UEFA Champions League at 3. Wolfsburg and PSG is at 3 o'clock. Northern Super League on the Plus, Ottawa and Vancouver at 7:30. Paramount Plus has all of the activity in Women's Champions League, the 2 matches at 12:45, the 3 at 3 o'clock. So then you go to college soccer, what's going on today. And it is a decent amount of men's action, but most of it's tied to what's going on out west. High Point UNC Greensboro's at 6 o'clock. You've got A10. You've got SoCon. You've got Sunbelt. You have Florida Gulf Coast, Florida Atlantic at 7 o'clock. A lot of this is on the Plus. Everything is on the Plus, by the way. And then out west at 10 o'clock, you have 4 matches. Sac State Northridge, UCSB, UC Davis, UC San Diego, UC Riverside, Cal Fullerton, and Cal Poly. So the Big West is on at 10 o'clock on ESPN+. Women's side, handful of matches there. It is 13 matches. Once again, same conferences in play. Metro Atlantic Athletic, you have a crossover with the MEAC and Charleston Southern. A10 is available. You have Ingit and Penn. San Diego and Portland is at 8 o'clock. Oregon State and the Tupac is taking on San Francisco. Big West is going on. West Coast Conference is going on at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and that gets you to what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. So that is, I think that's everything for today, if I'm not mistaken. So Dell has a picture of everything, including training pitch and all that stuff. Okay. So tomorrow, wide open in hour number 1. Before the power hour in hour number 2 with Nino and Nico at 10 and 10:30. Then once again, it'll be hopefully catching up with our friends at Beyond Goals. It wouldn't surprise me if Bart batted leadoff when it comes to Friday, because once again, Thursday afternoon is the activity involving the US U20s. We'll try and scramble some sound from Marko Mitrovic, the head coach, and from Nico Shakiris, and get you ready for the matchups there. Follow Bart at the Soccer for US POD when it comes to all of your U.S. activity. And the U20, just so you have your juice boxes today, once again, the 4 matches, Argentina minus 185, hosting Nigeria at 3:30. Colombia, strangely enough, the same number that they're favored as, at minus 185, hosting South Africa. 7 o'clock, Japan and France. Japan favored at a plus 147, France a plus 173, Paraguay a plus 150, Norway a plus 177, draws a plus 208. U.S., the number has drawn back to even money plus 100. So dollar for dollar, juice box for juice box. They're the early game tomorrow at 3:30 against Italy. Italy is a plus 245, but the U.S. is now back to even juice boxes at a plus 100, and we'll get you ready for that matchup as well. Hopefully we'll hear from Coach Marko Mitrovic and from Nico Shakiris leading you into that matchup. But, yeah, don't be surprised if Bart ends up batting leadoff on Friday just to give a bit of a look at what happened in that match, and we get you ready for the next round. So it's another round of SDH AM. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Thanks to Jarrett. Thanks to Tyler. Thanks to all of you guys. Oh, there was one, I think, Emilio, you had a question about Alzate. Remember that Steven Alzate, when he got here, was still trying to get into game shape. So you're learning a new team, you're learning new teammates, and you're also trying to get into game shape. So he might just be really at full fitness now, in addition to learning what Ronnie Dyla wants him to be in his offensive and defensive sets. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at Steven Alzate this season in the small sample size that we have. Like I said, back at it again tomorrow, the Power Hour with Nino and Nico, and we'll get you ready for everything else going on. We'll go through the AFCON qualifying. We'll do that as kind of like your pseudo watch along. You got games all day. If you got the plus, go watch. It's going to be great to see who's making their way through and who's going to qualify and all the things. So we're out. Back in less than 22 hours. Thanks for hanging out, as you always do. Mucho platiel, play it safe. Since it's the end of the show, means I get to do this. Be back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning, and probably places in between. See you in a bit.